All right, what's up, guys? Obviously, last week we completed the rookie draft. We got Trevor and Gabe with us here. They were pretty active, uh, much different than what it was last year. I was looking, Trevor didn't even have a draft. I mean, he was involved. I can't remember if you had a pick and you kept just trading everything, or if you traded everything pre-draft. But I think you did
Yeah.
have a couple of draft picks, but didn't like what you had at that point, and you just traded away. Think Gabe,
Yep.
you had maybe one or two picks. I want to remember like Tyler
Yeah,
Algier. I think
yeah,
you did
yeah.
tight end in the third round there. But nonetheless, guys, like this is a draft that you guys were getting ready to kind of go into. So we'll start with you, Trevor. I mean, essentially, I mean, what was your strategy going into the draft?
Well, it started with a bunch of research. I watched so much film this year compared to last year. Really try to distinguish who was going to be a potential star versus just a guy in the draft. So that was probably the biggest difference between this year versus last year. And I didn't just trust the NFL or ESPN's predictions on the draft. I went ahead and did my own research, which was super helpful. But as the draft approached, my biggest thing was just making sure I got the people I wanted. And Bijan, that 1-1 pick, that was set in stone basically from the moment I knew I had the first overall pick. And so I just made sure that no matter what the offer was, I stuck with Bijan because I knew he would be big.
I'm
The
I'm
only one,
I'm, I'm glad
yeah,
you
go ahead.
said that because I know there was a couple people, myself included, were just like, "Oh, Bryce Young, this. Are you sure you want Bijan?" You know, well, you
Yeah,
stuck to your guns, man.
and I heard all of it. I heard it all and was adjusting as I was going, but Bijan was always the number one for me. And the only thing that really changed for me during the draft was just that 1-3. And I got that offer from Terrence quite early in March, I believe, just letting me know that he was interested and that he'd be interested in paying pretty well for it. And so it was like I debated over it because I was also interested in potentially grabbing one of the early QBs. But as time went on, I realized that I would be better suited for my current team, the way I see it at least, to grab another running back. So once you grab Gibbs, I was done with the 1-3, so I was willing to trade that and get a little extra picks out of it, as well as a great wide receiver.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, who knows, right? We don't know how these rookies will do. They could all bust, and we're all laughing. And Trevor looks like a genius because he didn't take one. I thought for sure with four first round picks, I could have guaranteed that you were at least going to take one QB. And granted, you did take a QB. You took the last pick. And I mean, you
Yeah.
took what's it? How do you even say his name?
Stetson Bennett,
Benson,
yeah,
or Bennett.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, I was caught by surprise. Like for me, I think that was the biggest surprise. I don't think you trading the 1-3 away,
Mm.
but loading on the front end on the receivers. I mean, you got good receivers. Like I love what you did there. You got Addison, you got Jackson Smith and Jiba. Surprised he kind of fell through the
Same.
1-1-6 there. But let's pivot to Gabe because Gabe he had a little bit of a different strategy there. So I mean, tell me, Gabe. I mean, kind of what was your strategy kind of going into the draft?
Like I definitely knew I needed at least one quarterback. I wasn't too concerned with which one I was going to get, as you know, uh, trying to convince me I needed to trade up. Uh, but yeah, basically my thought was whatever quarterback fell to me of the three, of Richardson, Young, or Stroud, I'd be happy with them because they've all got their upsides and they all have their warts. Certainly like because Richardson's like probably got the most potential upside. I was kind of hoping he'd fall to me, but realistically, after watching a lot of different draft videos, I knew that wasn't a strong possibility. But then again, didn't know who liked who because there's plenty of drafts that where Richardson didn't go, in the two spot or three spot, and so again, I wasn't like super tied to him enough to trade up though,
For
because
sure.
like I said, it was between the three of them. It was kind of a toss up. It wasn't worth to me anyway to trade up to snag any particular one. Um,
Right. And I
And then,
know I gave you a couple of trade offers to try to move up and get the guy that
yeah,
you wanted. And I know a couple of times, you were like, no, it's okay. I
yeah,
mean, granted, you can't go wrong with any of the three that dropped you at the 1-4, right? I mean,
yeah,
granted,
yeah.
could have went in any different type of way. Granted, it's all strategy, right? Trying to like get what you want, but still get more, and I was pretty confident that going into it for me, with the number two pick, I probably could have went wide
My
receiver
main
or
consultant
could have went. What's that?
said, "Here's my main consultant."
The main consultant.
Yeah,
I probably could have or should have went running back or my goodness, quarterback, but I didn't feel that was a need for my team right then and there.
yeah.
So early on for me, I knew I was going with Gibbs. I know we didn't rehearse this, but did that kind of throw any of you guys off? I know Trevor, you kind of mentioned it, that
Yeah.
as soon as Gibbs was no longer there, like that kind of shifted. But was it the same thing for you, Gabe? Were you trying to
Um,
get him at the later rounds, or are you just letting the draft
I,
come to you?
again, he was one I was hoping might fall to me, but I wasn't surprised that you took him because it was pretty clear from our conversation that you weren't super excited about taking any of the three quarterbacks. So Gibbs seemed like the next logical choice.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if you would take him or if you were just like potentially taking one of the quarterbacks just for their potential upside and trade value. But yeah, so uh, yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
a
if Gibbs
lot,
is
a
falling
lot,
to
yeah,
me,
a
I
lot went into
probably
it.
would have taken him,
Yeah, a
but
lot went
you know,
into it. And granted, if I had the 1-1, I was taking Bijan. I mean, that's how my whole mindset all year was. And then Trevor, like, I could take better, and kind of threw a couple of wrenches in it. And I'm over here thinking, okay, how can I, make Eric lose, right? Because I had no control over that pick, right? As whatever Eric was doing.
yeah.
But yeah, I'm glad it worked out. I got my guy. I was trying to hopefully to get him at the 4 or the 5 with you, Gabe, but you guys weren't budging, so I guess I had to take that take that pick there. So we talked about it, right? I mean, what is the term definition of tanking, right? Especially in Dynasty, tanking, putting booty guys in and guaranteeing a loss. Granted, Trevor, that's what you kind of did. I know they're
Yeah.
a little bit towards the end game, like you were kind of forcing like a crap situation to where hey, your best roster was what you were putting out there, based off all the trades that you guys were doing. But Trevor, we'll get to you in a little bit. But Trevor, what was the turning point in the season? Maybe was it last year? Was it mid-season? What was that turning point? Do you remember that was like, you know what? I'm going to try to go for that 1-1.
So last year, when the season ended, when I made that trade to Jordan for Kelsey, the whole reason I did that was to get Trevor Lawrence. That was the only reason I did that trade. And I knew I would have to wait until the season was concluded to do so. So that was kind of the start of it. But I thought I might be able to will myself into some victories. But after losing a few straight and just not feeling confident, I decided about week 10, I think I had barely beaten you. And it was just one of those things where it was like, you just had a bad week, like a really bad week. And it was like, this was one of my best. So it's like, I can't compete in the playoffs. So I might as well just tank and see where that and lands me in the draft because I was already doing some research and was feeling confident about a lot of these guys. So it was like, if I go ahead and just let the dice fall, we can maybe get myself into a good, better position. And so we made that change.
And that's what you did. Yeah, man. And it was evident. I mean, you can't complain with that 1-1. I mean, possibly one of the best that we've seen in a long time in Bijan. So he's going to be a good core piece for your team for a long time.
Hope
Not to
so.
mention Smith and Jiba. I am curious to see what they're going to be doing there, but I mean, you definitely set yourself up for success. You may not be able to. I mean, your team, Trevor, is the most interesting that I'm curious to see because I feel like your team is right there. And if some of these one or two of these guys hits, you
Yeah.
you could be back in the playoffs. I mean, 4 out of 6 or 4 out of 10 guys, like it's the odds are there.
There.
Granted,
Yeah.
the teams that are up there, they're pretty stacked in terms of proven players, but again, it just takes that one or two players. All right, Gabe, we'll pass it to you, man. I mean, what was your turning point?
Okay. Actually made a little slideshow about it, so I'm gonna pull that up. So basically, for me, it was week 10 as well. Oh, there we go. Start broadcast. Okay. And it was like week 9. I looked back, it was Jordan. I beat him in week 9, and I was like, realized I still had a chance at that point. But after that, in week 10, let's see, pull this up. And it was at that point when I lost to
UFF 48's Elizabeth Jello caught up with the victim. Elizabeth, emotions were running high.
He just won't leave me alone.
It's happened so many times I've lost count. I can't keep going on like this.
So I'm here to talk about something very serious. It's of urgent importance.
In 2022, consumers reported losing about $8.8 billion due to scam or fraud. Just as painful are Anton's trade offers. Say no to Anton trade offers, because every time you receive one, you feel like you die a little bit inside.
I've been victimized by Anton.
I've been violated by an Anton trade request.
Hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here.
Can't believe he did it again. He offered another 5 for Dill.
Got your t-shirt, you done left fingerprints and all. You are so dumb. You are really dumb. For real.
A crime scene investigator photographed and dusted for prints on the lid of the garbage can.
Yes, a lid of a garbage can, where almost all of Anton trade offers belong. He tried so many times to steal all 3 of my first-round picks for basically half-eaten Hampton. He seemed so innocent as a child, but that was deceiving.
But my grandma did call him Tawny when he was little, and his middle name is Ayrton.
9 out of 10 fantasy managers have received bogus offers from this man here, Anton Tawny Cahill. It takes all of us to stop a predator.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. My innocence is gone. This can't happen to anybody else. Just say no to Anton.
I wanna die, oh, without pain. All this deception.
Okay.
I don't even know what to say to that. Good job, congrats. That's awesome. I love it. I love it. All right, so
yeah,
that was the turning point. Me offering all those trades. I see.
Yeah, no, actually, it was week 10 when I lost to the Avondale Pit Bulls, and that's when I knew, like, statistically I was done. Couldn't make the playoffs, and so that's when I started selling off my players and just doing a hard reset. And as you know, my tanking didn't go as planned. Kept winning games I shouldn't have after that, but you know, after the draft, pretty happy with the way it fell, the way those fell.
It was pretty good, man. Me and Jordan were talking about it, and he feels that you came away with the best value at the picks that you had. I don't think anybody, thought that Bryce Young would have fell to the 1-8. Granted, I know you probably had no intentions of taking him, but he was the best player available, so it only
yeah. It was one of those things where just completely unexpected, but then once I had a chance to kind of just got all those offers coming in from everybody, including you, I was just like, you know what, this fits with what I'm trying to do. Just Young, just ironically beat needed my team to be young, and he fit. And quarterbacks, especially in Super Dynasty, super valuable. So I just figure between him and Stroud, one of them's got to hit, if not both.
What I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to go ahead and make 2 videos. I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording, and then we're going to go ahead and pick up off of the next one. It'll be a little bit. Give me 1 second.